All right, we'll start the meeting. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Martin, you know Dina, we have seen it, everybody else, so. All right, so probably the first thing we need to do is start with election of officers. So, do we have any nominations?
I nominate you for chairperson.
I need
I'll
that.
second. I second.
I do have a nomination.
If you'll accept, you've been doing a
Yeah, no, that's
fantastic
all right,
job,
'cause
Jerry.
I
I
don't
mean,
think,
thank you for all
I
your.
figured I'd be in for at least 2 years, if not 3, before I
Pass the torch.
yeah, we'll see. Okay. And then how, for secretary, Dina has expressed interest. So Dina, all it really entails is if we don't solve the problem with the person taking minutes, then the secretary usually does, or somebody else. I mean, when we first, Tracy Moza had done them for like 7 or 8 years or something like that, and then she stepped down at the beginning of last year sometime. So for now, George has been doing them. I usually check them before they go out.
I
So
was
if you don't
hoping-
mind doing them,
No, like I said, I have served as secretary on board for
Yeah.
my child's nursery school, like PTO and stuff, so.
so just so you,
Yes.
the one thing it is to participate is tough
Mhm.
and take the minutes. So we do record it, but then that's another hour. You gotta go back through it again.
Right.
But
From experience, I find that, it's a much more accurate version of the minutes from the recording, but it's much more tedious.
Yeah,
I was hoping Mike would be here so we could just put the ask to him again for some village support.
Yeah,
Has, provided several years of support. I know Michelle also supported us for at least a year. There was a time there when she was taking notes. I don't know if the new mayor put a little sway.
yeah, well,
One thought I had, a creative thought, was that I know we are required to produce a copy of the minutes, right? Is that in our bylaws that we have to produce minutes, or is it, if it's not,
I think that's probably of state law, right, for any commission?
I would think
meeting?
so. I would think so.
So-
Supposed to do annual report too.
if we're.
Yeah, well, that's in our bylaws, but that's not. in
Could we
state.
consider the video that we record of the meeting, a video transcript of the meeting? It's available to the public they are available to the public on the town website, right?
Well, she said it was on YouTube. I didn't go looking for it.
Yeah.
but-
oh, but there's also a full like text transcript, like Zoom transcribes the audio.
Wow. I didn't know.
So that, I can look into that and just make sure. But if
Okay.
that could work, then, I mean, that would be kind of huge. Maybe, is it Dina?
But I have
Yeah.
a question though,
Yeah.
like, how would Zoom know who's talking?
Well, that level of detail, I mean, but what Zoom does is says speaker 1, speaker 2.
Okay.
So what we would, if we went that route, I think what we would want to do is call it out, which we kind of already do, or it would be like, motion seconded by Grace Jones, and that would be captured in the transcript. But I could look at that, and at least it could be maybe kind of like a backup. And then Dina, what you could do if there's a meeting where you want to participate more and you just want to set it aside, you could just go into the transcript and, Command F, like look for the votes and stuff. And that would be quicker than watching the whole thing all over again. Like you could probably do that in 10, 15 minutes if you feel comfortable with that kind of thing.
yeah.
All right, so let's hold up 1 second and let's finish the nomination so we can get going here on that.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
So I'll nominate Dina as secretary.
Second it?
So seconds. So we need to record this. I don't know if you want to do it now, Dina, or look at the video later.
Mhm.
Are you gonna take them for today's meeting?
Yeah, that's,
Okay.
Yeah.
So for nominating me, it was George first, Martin second. And then for you as secretary, it was mine first, Doug second. So I don't know, what's the procedure now anymore? We're not gonna have a treasurer or
We just have to do those two.
right, and I don't think that anybody's gonna volunteer for anything else really, are they? So, any further discussion on those nominations?
Thanks to all those who are serving.
Okay, Martin.
Do we have to take it to
A vote, yeah, so we have myself as president, Jerry Mayor, and Dina Stratton as secretary. All those in favor?
I,
That's unanimous. All right, Hank, Dina Stratton, if you don't know.
Thank Alexander, how are you?
All right, the other administrative thing, just to go over here, so there's conflict between what the village tells us and what the town is telling their appointees. We have to get sworn in at the village, and then the town says you don't have to get sworn.
That's interesting. I'm on another commission. I'm on the Environmental Conservation Commission for the town. And I just got reappointed to that, so I have to go downstairs and get sworn in for that one.
You do, so why?
For the ECC.
I think I honestly, I may be creating a false memory here, but I think when I initially joined, I had to swear in, but not in any.
yeah, me too.
Reappointments, yeah.
All right, well, we're gonna have to get, yeah. Yeah, and that's
Unbelievable.
come through every single time, even when we get it reappointed, I got sworn in yesterday, so. Cause it tells you, it's specific, when you're sworn in, it's for a specific term, is what I raised my hand to.
Yeah,
So. All right, well, we'll get that clarified, and as far as now as, we consider.
I can check, I have to, like I said, I gotta go swear in for the other commission. I can check with
Jackie,
Jackie.
yeah, she was just there.
that's what.
Great.
it's up to.
Yeah, she said she didn't have to, so,
Maybe
And you're new appointment.
Yeah.
yeah. All right, so, next up is the minutes. I'm assuming everybody received them.
I got some issues.
You do? Okay, Martin.
So, Elliot, is actually a member of the Bourbon Road Park Committee, not our committee.
Correct.
You mean at the top?
At the top.
Yeah, we just record who's in attendance, whether it's even.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, I don't think it matters
Oh, okay, that's
necessarily,
fine.
yeah.
okay. Under rail trail updates, that seems to be, I think, a typo in the middle, where it says Hank recommended, I think instead of showers, it should be arrows.
Sharrows.
Showers is
Yeah,
showers?
they call it ones for bikes specifically on the road, for sharing the roadway.
Showers, I didn't know, okay.
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, I know you didn't get, I'm thinking you didn't get that, there must be a special term for that, man.
Cool.
Cause like, what in the world is it?
It's like share the lane. Here's an arrow.
Yeah.
It's a sharrow.
Is it in Webster's dictionary? Anything else?
Yeah, on the surveys, I think it should be, the town has not yet hired a surveyor to complete the survey for Lippin Park.
Okay. I'll fix last month's names. Okay, Lippman has what, one and two? I'll find out. Morning, Ed.
Morning, Ed.
He's one and
Ed, just so you know, Dina Stratton is our new village appointee, that's, Ed, you'll see it, Stone. And I got reelected as chair, and Dina has stepped up to be the secretary, just so you know. All right, anybody else for the minutes?
Figure out, bring for your decision.
All right, so, all those who approve the minutes and as one with one correction?
Aye.
That's unanimous. All right, next up, let's go. All right, rail trail. Anybody want to start?
Looks like there's a tree down.
Hold on a
Yesterday-
minute, Hank's gonna start.
Yesterday I attended there's a coalition of all the towns in the Rondout Valley that own or maintain sections of the ONW. They have meetings 3 to 4 times a year, so I attended that as the representative of the village and the town yesterday. And basically Annie Bergelin was there. And she presented, she just updated everybody on the progress of OSI's kind of master plan for the rail trail between Port Jervis and Kingston. And they've really done a lot of the engineering work and survey work on it. And they're about to move into basically, like a public information gathering and also trying to build constituency for the rail trail. Apparently, like south of Mamakating, the O and W, there's no groups or interested parties like there are on the northern end here. So they're realizing they need to build that so that they can, as they build this thing out, they can get the highway departments involved in maintaining and, you know, all the things it takes to run a rail trail. And then, the other thing that we've been working on as OSI has completed the sections, one of the things that the coalition does is produce a brochure and a map. So that, good news. Sorry, the map needs a lot of updating because there's been so much new work completed on the rail trail. And so I'm gonna pass this around. It's a draft. There's still some more completions, things to do on it, but it shows the connection between the O and W and Kingston that was recently completed in Hurley. And then all the sections that OSI has worked on in Rochester, Warsing, and Ellenville. And then also the section that OSI purchased that goes from the Nevele, southern end of the Nevele property to the county line, that 2.4 miles. So that's all on this trail. And the brochure will be reproduced, and then these maps will be put up on all the updated maps will be put up on all the kiosks, including the 3 new kiosks that are on our section of the rail trail. I'll just circulate it for people to see.
Yeah, I already put them on the 2, Hank, I don't know.
Oh, maps?
Yeah, the
Oh, good.
OW, because there's only 2 spots, actually, those holders.
Yeah, the
For
brochure
you
racks.
can put
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
2 different ones if you don't want to mix them.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So that,
I
you
don't know, it'd been nice if they could have put maybe 1 more, I don't know what else you put on there, but I looked, I don't think we should put anything on the back of them.
It's not really,
It's not visible, it's
it's,
not gonna look.
the only way to do that would be like, we talked at the last meeting about the one that's at the intersection of Edwards and Canal. Like if we were able to kind of turn that into put a bike repair stand and some picnic tables.
They might see the back of it, yeah, because
That might be a
they're
reason
just
to do
basically
it
a
there.
creek there, you know.
Yeah, it's tight.
So,
And then, you know, but really, I think that those brochures, really all we can distribute there are these maps, you know, the brochure maps. But then on the panel itself will be a large overall map of the rail trail. We've got, I don't know if anybody's got it yet, but there's a tree down about a mile up from the sewer plant. And that got recorded through, one of your volunteers, Carolyn,
Elliot?
yeah. So, today I'm gonna go down and fill out my, you know, if you're a volunteer for the trails, you have to fill out a form for the town annually. So I'm gonna go downstairs and,
Do that too while you're here.
yeah, I'm gonna fill it out and then I'm gonna try and get out there. I'm gonna get my wife to fill one out too, but she doesn't know that yet. But, we're gonna go get that tree, Monday. And then I need to eyeball the blowout, where Shingle Gully apparently overtopped the rail trail.
I took pictures of that, Hank, and they're on the website.
Oh.
I hopefully you can look at it, because I took it with my iPhone. So I don't know if when it goes on there, and if you use a PC, you can see them or not.
It's on the shared drive?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
I'll try
think
and
I
make
put
note
it
of
in a
that.
folder, if I'm not mistaken.
I had a chat with Annie about it yesterday after the meeting, and she's taken a close look at it. And, apparently the culvert's still intact, but it overtopped the trail and basically washed away all the
Yeah,
surface.
it comes down and then most of the Russian water goes left.
Yeah.
And I can show you a picture.
I know exactly, I know
Yeah.
exactly what it's.
And when you see it, it's just way down in there.
It's in the woods.
Yeah, all that material is
Yeah.
gone, so.
So there's a couple of solutions there and they all involve engineering and money. One is to put a bridge there, one is to put in a large, like an engineered box culvert. And, the thing that Andy and I were kicking around, which might be the least expensive, is to, I don't know if you've ever seen this, but sometimes what they'll do with the trail is, they'll have some drainage underneath it like a culvert, but you plan for it to overtop and you basically, instead of making the a traveled way out of stone, you make it out of cast concrete, kind of round it over on the edges with the expectation that the stream will overtop it from time to time. So
Does that stream come, because I was just looking at this, because the bridge that's put in is only a little further up. When that comes down the mountain, does that split a little bit above that?
So what happened is during hurricanes Irene and Lee, it always drained right where it drains now.
Which, when you say that, where the culvert is or
Yeah,
where the bridge is?
where it got overtopped.
Okay.
And then during that hurricane, there was so much debris that came down there. It blocked the culvert and kind of went up to the north and blew a huge hole in the rail bed where the bridge currently is.
Oh, okay, wow.
So that's kind of an
That's
already,
new then.
yeah, since 2010 or something like that. When was that 2010?
Well,
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah, somewhere around.
So that's kind of the secondary drainage. When that thing overtopped there, the water also goes to the right and underneath the bridge.
Yeah, it's a shame it didn't go right under where the bridge is, because there's plenty of room there.
You can't, it's hard to get water to make a right angle.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, but I thought further up, because that comes, I thought above the bridge, maybe I cannot remember. Isn't there a ravine above the bridge to the right when you're walking towards, towards Kingston? I don't know.
There's a huge drainage area going up the mountain. So, and it's shaped like it's shingle gully.
No, I know that part. I'm saying once you come across Burn Road, it's coming down. Does it split and some go to
Yeah.
the bridge and some goes,
Yeah,
I thought there was a pretty big ravine.
Yeah, there's like
Coming
a
into the-
secondary drainage that goes by the bridge.
But most of the water's coming straight down, so that's the, yeah.
So
Is there
that-
anything that we can do as a commission to, like help with any kind of, I don't know how, if they're looking at funding yet for this, for the various solutions, but is there anything that you think we can do, Hank?
I think that OSI is helping that the town is gonna fund the repair, or the renovation, because we went into it like, Tony, the highway superintendent, he knows drainage inside out. And,
Mm.
when this was being built, we were sitting around the table and he said, what are you gonna do about this? And they said, really nothing. We don't have enough money to do the engineering that's required here. So honestly, it was built knowing that it was gonna be a problem in the future.
So is Annie talking with Tony about it, or is that something?
So to answer your first question, I think what this commission can do is just raise awareness with the town about the issue and what some
Okay.
solutions are.
Terry knows, by the way.
Yeah.
I can go to the next, so I changed my schedule so that now I can go to the town meetings. And I can bring it up at the next town board meeting, just to get that, just sort of as an FYI and kind of like just inform the council members and let them know the status is that,
I think that would be great. I'm hopeful that, I know OSI wants to help with it, and there may be some ways we could continue to partner with them on it. Maybe they could help us with the engineering.
Yeah, what we need to do is kind of put a budget together, right?
Yeah.
Or that's an answer or three different solutions
Yeah.
and then budget.
Yeah.
And then go find the money.
Yeah.
So, I had let Terry know. He was gonna let Tony know. So Tony may know already.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And it rained since I took the pictures. We had the snowfall before this past one and then another rain of whatever, how many inches. So it might even be worse
It probably is
than
because
when I was there.
that rain happened with a lot of snow still on the
Yeah,
ground.
so.
yeah. Okay, I'll go and I could even see if I can share the pictures just to show the board real quick.
That's great. Thanks.
Okay, because I assume they'll have to vote if it's a budget thing, so it'd just be great for all of them to know the situation, even if
Yep.
Tony and Terry.
Yep. And then I guess the last thing I'd report on the rail trail is, the bridge, for the Port Bend section, construction starts on that next week.
Oh,
So
wow.
that bridge has been out,
So
the
cool.
little footbridge is still in place. But, Calucci.
Oh, is that where that's gonna go?
Yeah. Yep.
All right, how about where the two concrete? There's one that's wood that's a bridge, right?
That's the one. They're making like a real bridge of that,
Isn't
right?
there one spot where there is no bridge and it's too concrete?
It's further north.
It's past the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
I
it's
can't
further
remember. I
north.
walked.
There's that, the Port Bend little bridge, there's the one that's missing, and then there's the one that Douglas Esteem built, which is, pretty close to Fordham. And that's
Well, I'm
another,
thinking, all right, I don't even know which is the first one.
yeah, so there's 3 crossings in that section.
Yeah, I know there's one gap yeah,
Yes,
that's got concrete where there must have been something, right?
well, that's where the railroad went across the canal feeders.
Okay. All right, so that's that all the way down to, I think, the sewer plant. So Lena, I guess we'll step to the village section.
Well, one more thing on the rail trail, just a quick update on our progress to connect the sewer plant entrance to Berm Road Park. I was really excited to see that Brian Healy forwarded the ROW that he submitted to DOT for the funding needed for the real estate piece. So he submitted that yesterday, which is awesome because in November, he told me the timeline for that piece was January 15th. So to have done it within 2 days of when he said it was going to happen, I thought was amazing. So big kudos to Brian. I'm going to write him a little note saying that's really fantastic. But then I've got this full timeline from him. So the next thing is that he will submit the final design report at the end of January and hoping for authorization for the final design end of March. So also I had been worried a little bit about the gap in funding. But Brian assuaged my fears to some degree that this is pretty common and that generally, you know, the DOT doesn't like to stop projects that have already began. So getting more funding from them through another, I guess, TIP, whatever that stands for.
The Transportation Improvement Project.
Yes. Okay. So getting more of that would be good. But I guess the piece that I want to talk to Evan about, village mayor, is just making sure we're having that conversation with DOT now and like kind of just keeping them updated. And I'm going to offer to do that directly as a parks commissioner, to like let them know the enthusiasm, the resuscitation of the project, like everything that's going on so that they're prepared when we do ask them, because it's quite a bit of money. It's about $400,000 that we're going to need from them in increased funding. So,
Go ahead.
Yeah, just to follow on, it's, that it's true that the DOT likes these projects to be finished, but the TIP money is controlled by Ulster County Planning. The person in charge of that is Brian Slack. His boss is Dennis Doyle. They are the ones who have to actually allocate that money.
okay.
So while DOT wants it to be finished, it's competing with all the other projects in Ulster County. So
Okay. So maybe they're the ones that I
it
should
is.
start to chat with.
Brian Slack and Dennis Doyle are the people that we need to have the conversation with. And the village, as the project sponsor, is still the folks that have to formally, formally have that conversation requesting the money. The town did the same thing on their DOT project about 2 years ago when the village called out for updates. And I to this date have not seen the village's update to Ulster County. I don't think one was ever submitted.
I'm sure it wasn't, and I don't want to rely on.
Yeah, I don't think it was, because I think, I would know, but,
As parks commissioners, are we able to, represent the village on the topic?
yeah, if the village formally, right now, the project manager for that project, the official project manager is Mike Warren.
Yeah,
Before Mike was the project manager, it was Joe Steckler.
yeah.
So typically would be like a supervisor or a town or a village manager or a city manager. But I think the village can appoint whoever they want as the project manager.
Okay, I might ask the village to appoint me if you guys all agree, because I just do not trust that they're gonna do anything with this. Like I have zero faith.
Well, and the thing is, since there's a new mayor now, maybe the new mayor may decide to make this a priority for the village and for Mike, so give it,
I mean,
that might be a way to go too, Elena.
have you, I'll certainly talk to Evan about it, but, I mean, given the state of the village right now, I don't think this is a priority. I mean, I don't know.
Their projects.
Yeah, like, I don't know if folks, I know Grace was at the emergency meeting on Tuesday, but I don't think anyone else here was. And we're on the brink of insolvency as a village. So like the level of emergency, just from a funding perspective, will probably be the top priority for the next, 6 months. But I'll ask, I mean, I can ask Evan what the best course of action from his point of view is, and then bring that back here.
Sure.
Because I just don't think that, especially with what the village needs to do to solve the financial crisis right now involves a lot of work on the part of Mike Warren and the mayor. And I don't see this like rising to the top, at least for Mike Warren.
Yeah, I mean, it is possible for Mike to continue as the project manager. But so like I've done this for the town, kind of, the project manager for the town is, their grant guy.
Flower.
Yeah, and he doesn't have the time or the focus or energy, so I kind of do a lot of the grunt work for him and have him correspond with the DOT and the.
I think the correspondence is the piece I'm actually a little worried about. There's a bad history with the Clinton Street Bridge, where it sounds like correspondence has been a real problem and has kept us from improvements there with DOT. And so I think that's the piece I'm actually most nervous about.
Can you have a co-manager by chance?
I don't know the answer to that, but you can have like a proxy manager and have the other person sign it.
All right, well.
I could talk to the mayor as a next step and see just take his temperature on the best.
I think that's a great idea. They need somebody to really lean in and push that handbasket along.
And it's just been so fantastic, like the progress we've made, getting this resuscitated has been so exciting that.
They have a good engineering firm, which is.
Yeah, Brian seems fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so I'll report back. If I know more before our next meeting, I'll just email everybody.
Got anything on the rail trail or the village, more specifically the village section? Mike? No, okay. All right, I don't know if there is really any update, but the Firm Road Park project for the playgrounds, maybe two.
I had one update. I guess I have 2 points on this. One is, I don't know if folks saw, but the telephone pole came down onto the courts, which is great news that we had not yet redone the courts, because the telephone pole is now ruined the fencing and is laying across the tennis court. And one question I had on that was about insurance for that damage. Like,
revisit the telephone pole. So as it stands, because of the heavy storms and
yeah,
the integrity of the pole is that the pole actually just rotted. I actually thought it was when I got the phone call, that was part of the drainage part that I did, loosening up the soil. But I spoke to Mike Warren, I got a county call, I responded, I secured it as far as everything, got Central Hudson involved. I secured any part of the electrical part that was exposed. But to revisit that at this point, that's gonna be another cost, because I would say that we're gonna have to replace all the poles now.
Village Jones pole.
Yeah, all the poles need to be replaced, because this literally rotted at the base of the ground. And it just took a wind to knock them down. I'm pretty sure they was all installed around the same time, long before I actually was a part of the village. on this.
Mike, do you know of any insurance that we have for? I mean, I my guess is if it's rotted, there might be like a negligence thing, but has anybody in the village just talked to our broker about what our insurance might cover for something like that?
Me personally, with the insurance, I know we have insurance, but, you know, I contacted Mike Moore immediately, and that's his scope of the, providing the insurance, or having the insurance come out and look at it. But like I said, my suggestion to him is at this point where that broke is something, look at all the rest of it.
How many poles are we talking about, Mike?
Four.
Four poles. Make
Yes.
sense to try and underground it?
You want overhead lights, and probably cameras.
I know you need poles for lights, but I'm saying for the utility line.
the utility line was already underground as far as
Also, these are just
Yeah.
lights. These
the
poles.
pole that actually fell in the pole that has the panel box.
Got it.
And all the power that feeds all the rest of them, the ones that's on
Yeah.
the other ones, so.
Yeah.
There's an interesting opportunity where we, you know, as part of the Berm Road Park grant, we're talking about including lighting, you know, lighting updates. So I wonder if it makes sense also to, I know there's a contractor or supplier that Terry and Mike have been talking to. And I wonder if it makes sense to get their, like, to bring them into the conversation and see if they, you know, would have a different site plan for where the lighting would go or something, or somehow.
We were just saying, use aluminum poles instead of, pressure treated.
Yeah, which they old telephone poles, that's actually.
Leftovers.
Yeah.
All right. You had another point, Alina?
It was mostly about the lighting, just that Mike Warren said he had been talking to somebody about the lighting. I asked him to send me the info, but I haven't gotten it yet. I just want to make sure we don't agree to any lighting plan without everybody seeing it, because I think the style and like texture of the lighting is really important. Like, we don't want the terrible glaring, you know, cold LED.
You want
White.
ones that are down, that direct the light downwards too, instead of.
Right, exactly. So I'm gonna nudge him on that, just making sure we're all involved in looking at that lighting plan. And also, does anybody here have experience like with lighting installations or contractors? Like, I want to make sure the pricing is not, you know, is competitive. I mean, obviously I guess we'll have to bid it out, but I'm curious if there's someone who, I just don't have a frame of reference. So I'm wondering if anyone on the commission does.
All phase, SAF, get quotes from those people, what it's gonna cost.
I just redid the lights in my parking lot at my park with aluminum poles. I went from cedar to aluminum poles.
Yeah.
No, I know a little bit about it.
Okay. All right. As the next step, I'll see if I can.
Expensive, I'm sure.
Terrible, but I only have 7 lights. 7 poles. Yeah. And they're not as high. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, went up down to 2,000.
Yeah, and I wonder how high do they need to be? Like, that's the kind of stuff I don't know. Like, can they be a
For
little?
cords- For cords, they probably need to be the height of telephone poles, I'd say.
Which is what, 30 feet?
Yeah,
More?
25, 30.
25, 30.
Okay.
Okay,
Well, we'll
how
get-
about with,
Another question.
yeah, go ahead.
So Elena, has the subcommittee met to discuss some of the ideas for the additional furniture for the Glupak family to buy?
I haven't heard back from Mark, so he's looking at it with his kids. I mean, I'm sure the holidays, that's a tricky stretch. So I'll touch base with him this week just to check in and see, you know, if he and his kids had a chance to look at it and what they're thinking.
So did you send the subcommittee forward to Mark some things to look at?
Yes, yes. So I sent Mark 3 different suppliers that do like the outdoor fitness equipment, and more like older kids and adult active equipment. And some of it is like, has interesting crossover with, you know, it still like looks and has like a playground feel, but that there's applications for older folks and it's more about fitness. So he has those and has been looking at them with his kids. So I'll check in with him and see what he says. And I think that those are the
I was
only,
gonna ask, yeah, I'm gonna ask about it.
what's that?
That's what I was gonna ask about, so you can skip me.
Okay.
All right, I guess next up would be the survey. Has there been any movement in it? No,
I followed up with Terry, had a couple emails back and forth, and
nothing.
this where it sits.
What do you think's going on there?
Yeah,
They do
really.
not want to do it?
Just bringing it to, it's the same conversation over and over, like, why are we doing this, why are we doing this, to blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh, I have a new board member that I need to get on, blah, 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 so it's just this constant cycle.
Elena,
Yeah,
can you go to the town board? Can you please also mention that, the Parks Commission is eager for the town to, finish the survey for Lippman Park?
what
Yeah.
is the reasoning there? Like what, when I get the question of like, why is it a priority? I'm a little unclear. I just haven't tuned in too much to this topic.
Well, I mean, if the town owns the park, they should really be clear about what exactly what's their property and what's private property. To me, it's like a no-brainer. I don't
A
know.
few years ago, the town directed the bicycle club to build some trails on property that they thought was owned by the park and it was private property.
Oh, God.
We had to untangle that big time.
Mm.
The trails and we got that one line surveyed where the property in question was. But the way that park came into the town's possession, it's in several different parcels. So it's a big mishmash and there's boundaries that nobody really knows where they are. So it's basically just good stewardship to know where your boundaries are. And also, like, if you go to use other people's money to build anything,
Mhm.
they want to make sure if you're using state or federal money that you actually own the property you're building stuff on.
Okay,
So.
all right, I'll bring this up.
And Ed had forwarded to Terry, right, some of the bids, right?
Yeah, I got bids.
Can we take a step beyond that and just make a recommendation to the town board that they proceed with?
I think it's gonna be what type of surveys and, right, what are they gonna? Ed, you know more, combine parcels, not combine them?
Yeah, so there are 4 parks parcels classified as parks, and there's just separate kind of, it's called a landfill on the parcel here, but it's a transfer station. And there's some transfer station activities happening on the parks parcels, so it'll be separating the transfer station activity from the parks and combining the 4 parks parcels into one. So there's a solid known property line. We know that there's areas where people are accessing from neighboring properties. There's been issues even before this bike trail, when they built that trail that goes around that Stone Dust Trail that was built partially on private property, that had to do a lot line adjustment back then as well. So having a better understanding as where the property line is for the park, if we want to develop more trails, is greatly beneficial.
Who owns the road going up to the park?
That,
It's a town road.
it's a town road.
So Ed, what's the, in your idea, your sort of recommendation, is it to just have 2 parcels in the end? Or
Yeah,
one
2
big-
parcels, have a landfill or a transport station parcel and the parks.
Makes sense.
So there you go, Elena, that's the kind of the gist of it.
And at this point, I think you said like 2 or 3 meetings ago that the quotes were beyond their,
Oh, they're well beyond
Yeah,
that,
so they might need to update those with
You
the.
got this together, what, a year and a half ago?
something like that.
Okay,
So
I'll
just
bring it up.
It's probably, it's gotta be in the town budget, I'm sure, before they proceed with it. Okay.
Well, I guess
Right.
the fiscal year, we could, if it's not in the current budget, maybe it's good timing to get it in the next fiscal year.
Now you're talking 25, because the town moves.
Oh, they already did their budget workshops and everything?
Yeah, in the fall, because their calendar year.
Oh, they don't do fiscal, huh, weird.
Well, village is the opposite one. All right. Dog park, anything further, Elena? Any update?
No major update at this point. I'm just kind of waiting until we get closer to the spring to when we would get bids and stuff. But one thing that I am gonna do, and if anybody wants to join me in this, I would love partners in this effort. I would like to go to a couple of the neighbors in the neighborhood close to the Bob Mangles Park and have some conversations, bring them into the concept, kind of present the PowerPoint. Like, I think I want to be sensitive to that community, and I want to like make sure they're involved and not surprised by it. And I've met a few of them because I'm over there with my dog, and so are they. And so I think I think there's a little bit of knee jerk, NIMBY, not in my backyard response. But it's funny because all the people who I've talked to, who I've gotten that vibe, are there with their dogs. So I think it's a little bit of like fear of outsiders overrunning the situation. And I just want to paint the picture and kind of bring people into the positive side of what this could do for the community and how we can, mitigate their concerns and, assure them that we would have kind of approaches in place if there are any issues. So that's sort of my over the next month or so, to try to like meet with a couple of people and hopefully get get some folks that are directly there on board with the idea. So if anybody wants to join me in that endeavor, I would love a partner on that. I'm gonna see if Barb from Top Shelf, she and I chatted about it a little bit, and I'm gonna see if she can join me.
Elena,
So that,
you-
okay, great. I'll keep you
So
posted.
just so I'm clear, Lena, so when you present this, you're presenting it as exploratory.
Yes, totally exploratory, just like, contingent on town approval and funding. But I think better to bring folks in that community in earlier rather than later.
Hey, Elena, I noted that the January issue of Recreation Management kind of features dog parks and has an article on dog park design considerations. So that's something I get mailed to me. It's mostly ads for recreation stuff, but I wanted to pass it along to you.
Do you have it with you today?
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
You want me to drop it on your doorstep
Yes,
when we come?
that would be amazing. Thank you. Oh, cool. I can't wait to look at it.
Yeah, it's a
Sorry, I'm
super-
not there. I know I'm very
super cute
close.
Picture on the cover.
It's so cute.
Grace, I'm leaving for the airport at 10:15. So if you
Oh,
you
I
think
have it work, like, yeah, I'm gonna just run to Morning Sunshine, then I'll drop this off.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
It's interesting, though, that the neighbors are in the park when their dogs aren't allowed. And then they
Yeah.
don't, anybody else in there,
That's not
so.
right. No.
And they don't want it to be a dog park, so.
I was gonna bring that issue up about not allowed. I mean, when the town got this property, or was there anything, restrictions or anything, or who decided that it wasn't gonna be?
It seems like it's a standard policy for the town to not allow dogs in their parks, because I
Right. 'Cause
started working with the town. That was one of the first things I was like, oh, how come you can't bring your dog to Littman? Everybody does. And it just, it's a rule that the board just seems kind of really into. I'm not sure why.
With an insurance issue,
No, I think
just
they,
asking,
No, I think it's just maybe a default that hasn't really been explored in recent.
yeah, so that's a good way to put it.
The board seems so I went to the last meeting. I sort of very briefly brought it up as something we're exploring, like people seem into it. I think Terry it has come up on the board a couple times, and Terry has led good discussions that have been really positive on the town board about it. So I think they are,
Moving.
they're,
when you say about it, do you mean about the dog park there?
Mhm.
Okay, I just want to understand specifically.
yeah. I
We're-
think there was one discussion about the idea of bringing a dog park to Wawarsing, and there was a couple of locations discussed, and the town board kind of had a lot of positive things about Bob Mangles. So I think that's the only discussion that's happened at the board meeting so far.
Anything further on dog park at this point?
Well, I also am hoping, like, today is really, really cold, obviously. So I'm gonna watch the weather ahead of our February meeting. If for some reason February 15th is not, you know, below 20 degrees, then I do think it would be great for us to go out and site check it together. But we'll see, I'll just watch that. If not February, then hopefully March.
Yeah, and I think we do it after the official meeting, just.
Yeah.
Instead of.
Okay.
Near, and, people with Zoom can't. All right, then, any old business overlooked? Anybody? Okay. Any new business?
Only thing I have is the parts that, Elena spoke about in the previous board meeting for Burnville Park haven't, arrived yet. I spoke with Tracy at the town, and, she's gonna look into what happened with the delivery of that was supposed to be, about a week and a half ago. So it's the other four or five pieces.
And then does the company come out and install them again like they did the other pieces?
Honestly, I don't, it's, I haven't heard that. I'm assuming between us and the town, it's gonna do the installation.
These are the smaller activities,
These are the
little
smaller
things.
activities.
Okay,
I have a question.
sure, Doug.
What's the timeline on the resurfacing and fencing of the courts at Burn Road Park? Any word on that? I missed.
I
out.
think Mike, do you have a sense of that?
Mike,
No, I don't know
it's
what
been
the.
not going.
I think my question on it,
Fencing conversation came up at one point of revisiting the fence. As far as, who's gonna actually be the person that, we purchase
Here-
or install it.
Because now you got the courts, the fence, the light poles,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot.
Okay, so.
But I think it has to be done sometime this year because
For the
that,
county.
yeah, exactly.
I think there's no reason, I mean, especially with the grant money that's remaining, like there's no reason not to try to do it as soon as we can in the spring so that we have the season to use it all. But here's my question. What does anybody know in terms of like the bidding process and when we have to post for things? Like this is very opaque to me. And I can chase the timeline. I can chase the village manager on like, when do we like put out a call for bids? How much time are bids usually active for? I think we're trying to time it so that we don't get in a situation where estimates or bids or whatever we call them are expired before we actually contract for the work, right? So like if the work probably can't start till April, then at what point does Mike Warren need to put out the official request for estimates? Does anyone know?
Village doing that or the town doing that?
The village is
Or-
doing the courts.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I would say to you this, I would not, just resort to speaking to the village manager. I would definitely keep the mayor on board.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
Not on his plate. But, just for us moving forward, including with me involved, I would say let's go in that avenue with the mayor. Who's in charge of purchasing? That would be Lillian, would be the,
Because they'll put out an RFP, said there's a specific date to have them back by,
Yeah.
right? And then you want it to cover a certain period, I would assume.
But the RFP should include timelines for the work.
Yeah,
Send it
exactly.
out. It should be, this work will be done between this month and potentially this month. So the bid should come back and.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the RFP can specify the timeline of when we would want the work done. And so then the bids would,
In the past, yeah, but
Yeah, because usually if you don't have it done by the time on the,
yeah.
that's specified, they get a penalty or something, right? The contract.
okay. So I'm gonna start in my next conversation with Evan. I'll bring this up. And I think we should try to get the RFP out soon. I wasn't sure. In my conversation with Mike Warren, it sounded like we needed to wait. But that doesn't sound like the case. That sounds like we can say what we want in the RFP. And so we should get it out sooner rather than later.
And did you hear the name of the gal that does the purchasing, Lillian?
Lillian?
Yeah,
The land is the,
At the
accounts payable purchasing.
she's the person in charge of purchasing, so she's probably the one that actually knows what has to happen.
Okay, great, great. Okay.
So I just have a question. Was it Mike that said that this dollar threshold pushes this to a formal RFP or?
I was wondering about that.
Yeah,
too.
because sometimes, you know, if we're below what the village is required to do a public RFP, which is a lot more work and a lot more formalized, then it's just picking up the phone and calling 3 companies and going with the low bidder, which expedites it. And typically they'll give you 30 days on the quote. And if you don't accept within that 30 days, the cost could go up.
But they
But
might,
once you accept, then you're locked in and whatever date you've outlined on the, proposal, for the work. So-
What is the upper limit? Does anyone know?
That's always the village.
so those purchasing guidelines would be set by the village, what the thresholds are.
Really?
Okay,
One for the state.
There is one.
There is
so
one.
that,
I know that they're the same. I think $15,000 is the state's threshold, so
The village could be lower.
could be lower.
It shouldn't be higher, right? If that's the state.
I would
It's based on the contract, it's based on, just themselves.
You'll have to ask Lillian if you're gonna explore that, Alina. I take it.
okay, I'll just get confirmation on that. I mean, this is gonna be way more than $15,000, so.
Yeah, unless you break it down into different parts, yeah. The court surface one, the fence another, and then the light pole is a third.
Okay, that's interesting.
I don't
And
know.
I mean, unless you're gonna get one company to do it all, you have to
Yeah.
do it that way.
Yeah, exactly. I don't
Okay.
even know if the approach is somebody,
Right.
Mike, you got any idea on that? Whether the one big RFP or 3 separate ones or what?
Honestly, I just know that the purchasing for village, the purchasing limit is about $30,000.
before what they have to get an RFP or.
I'm surprised it'd be higher than the state number.
You can set your own purchasing guidelines, I think.
All right, so you can talk to Lillian, maybe Mike Warren, there.
Does anybody know Lillian's, email?
Still big.
Oh, wait, Lillian Lopez, is that the person?
Yes.
Okay, great. I got her email. Okay, I'm gonna first find out what the purchasing limit is for RFPs before you have to do RFPs.
Yeah, 'cause
And
you
then,
put it in the- or-
based on that, we'll have next steps of what we need to do.
Is asphalt part of the plan on the court surface?
Yeah.
So
It's like a
once
sports
you-
surface. There's a sports surface that is supposed to do.
When they usually open the plans.
I don't know.
April 15th.
I don't know with the sports courts, is that a different, or is that?
No, Callahan was one of the companies that, paving companies. that-
Yeah, I'm assuming it's something that asphalt plant.
Yeah, spring, yeah, spring, people birthday, opening it.
All right, and the only other thing, I guess, Carolyn, would make sure, I guess, we get be asked or request Elliot to fill out an application for,
Okay, yes.
and anybody else, just so if it's.
Yeah, those volunteer applications start on the first of the year, so anybody that filled them out kind of has to redo them. I'm gonna go fill mine out today, I think.
Okay.
Do we know who the town board liaison is? Did they change it from Bill Brown to this?
I don't
year?
know the answer to that.
All right, so we'll find out. But,
Who the parks are.
because there are 2 new, they might have, sometimes they switch them up.
Anybody go to the organizational meeting?
Is that when they do it or? they do
Yeah,
it?
I think so.
Should have probably been in the Gulf Journal, but
I don't think they meant it to do that.
well, they come in like the first or second day of January and swear in the new.
Yeah, but I don't think Terry has.
Done. All right, we can find out when we're downstairs. All right, we're almost at 9 o'clock. Anything else for new business from anybody? I want to thank, we got everybody here today. There's 10 of us.
This is the full commission? This is all of us?
No, one short.
Is that a vacancy?
No. County.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't the town filling a seat or something?
We're all here.
Oh, okay.
Dina.
Dino is our newest
Dina,
member.
Racist.
Oh, Grace is town, yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. So you're the new appointee from the town.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Really exciting.
I just want to thank, you two for stepping up as officers and for the two new members joining us. We need the help, so thanks.
Yeah, it was, and I didn't hear anything back from Lisa. So she was here 2 months ago or whatever.
Yeah.
But I thought she said she'd be here for December, but at least there's us, and it's great to see everybody here. Granted, life gets in the way and whatever. So I guess we'll adjourn the meeting and looks like February 15th here again. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry.
Good to see everyone. Hank, thanks again for bringing that
Oh, yeah,
magazine.
when I saw the dog park thing, I knew I had to get it, yeah.
I'm thrilled. I can't wait to look.
Hey, Mike, 1 minute?
All right, bye, folks.
You.